boy Beezy430, back again with another Day in Hip Hop solo review. Doing this one by myself, of course, because we just didn't get a chance to do this one as a crew. And of course, the album that I'm speaking about is Jericho Jackson. Jericho Jackson is a duo group, of course, consists of Elzhi as the MC and Khrysis as the producer. Y'all know Khrysis. He's done work. Pretty much, he's worked in the Soul Council. He's part of the Soul Council with Ninth Wonder. Did work with Rhapsody. Did work with Atu, Talib Kweli, just to name a few. I think Pharoah Monch. Just to name some MCs like that Khrysis has worked with. He was part of the Way team that came out in the mid to late 2000s off Jamla as well. But yeah, let's get this started, man. No further ado. So Jericho Jackson, this is a self-titled album. Of course, if you're not familiar with Elzhi and his work, of course, he was a part of Slum Village in the early 2000s. Then of course started doing his solo, had his solo project, The Preference. He had Witness to My Growth mixtape. Then he had The Preference, and he had the Autofocus EP, which came out in the late 90s, which I wasn't familiar of until after I heard him on Jay Dilla's Welcome to Detroit. That was my introduction to Elzhi, him. And my introduction to Khrysis, of course, was through Little Brother, working with Ninth Wonder, as they was considered. I think that back then it was considered the Justice League, but I guess he changed the name because it was other producing company or producer names called the Justice League that we know of today. But yeah, man, Elzhi Preference did y'all know about Illmatic, his tribute to Nas Illmatic album. Then he did Lead Poison, which I feel like was a great therapeutic album for him to get off his chest, because you can tell he had some deep dark clouds and some demons he had to fight off, personally. Like, it's just some stuff he was going through personally. Because I heard tracks where he was contemplating, suicide, going through depression and stuff like that. Like, so I think Lead Poison, of course, on top of the intricate bars that he was flowing on that album, I think it was a good therapeutic album to get that off his chest. And I think with Jericho Jackson, with this self-titled album, I think Elzhi is back. I feel like he's really back. He feel like he's in a good space now creatively as an MC, which he said on To-Do List. Like, I think To-Do List is a perfect song where he just kind of like, of course, rapped about goals, but then push what he said, pushing gold lead. What's that line he said? Pushing lead, gold lead or something. Call it alchemy or something. I'm surprised. I'm surprised I'm not like reading lyrics off of from this album, because he has some crazy dope ass bars. But yeah, like To-Do List, I thought that was a good track to hear, because you always wonder, like, is he really out that funk? Is he out that cloud? And I think To-Do List was a perfect track to hear as a fan, to like, okay, this dude is back. This dude is back on the scene. I think whatever he had to get off his chest, or whatever personal demons he was dealing with, I think he's got over it. But let's just talk about overthinking. Overthinking, that's a great way to start the album off. I mean, of course, Elzhi's talking about, kind of like the what ifs of his album, like what if this will happen, or what if that'll happen, or I think that's a good way to open the track. Just like him overthinking what paths he could have took in his career, or what paths he shouldn't have took in his career, which I think which was pretty cool. I mean, the rhymes throughout this project, the rhymes are there. I mean, Elzhi does not slack lyrically. I mean, he shows you he is back to form. And he show you why he's one of the illest MCs today in this hip hop culture, because Elzhi is just killing it with the damn bars. The Overthinking was a great, perfect way to start the album off. Then you get Self-Made, which was the lead single. Had the same sample that Jay-Z used on Show Me What You Got. I don't remember the name of that sample per se, but it's the same sample that Jay-Z used off Show Me What You Got. And Rump Shaker, Teddy Riley used that shit off Rump Shaker. Like, so that was, I thought. And then Elzhi, y'all got angles. Y'all don't play fair and square. Like, just like his intricate wordplay, man, is just why I always love Elzhi so much, man, as an MC. Like, he is just so damn dope. But yeah, Elzhi, I thought that was a great lead single. I remember when they posted that on Instagram, I was excited. I was just ready to unfold into that album, and which I was not disappointed at all. So that was dope. But yeah, Self-Made was definitely another one. Like, he was that hook was dope as hell. Like, usually sometimes Elzhi hooks be a little lackluster, but his rhymes be so damn dope, you don't even care if the hooks are bad or not. But I thought this hook on here was pretty good. Self-Made since 12th grade, that's my calling. Every jewel I drop is like that shit was just dope as hell. And then it went to what's the next joint? Oh yeah, Cuffing Season. Cuffing Season. That's one thing I liked about this album too, is like Elzhi gave you dope storytelling, and he gave you, like, on top of the storytelling, he gave you dope life lessons. So it was just like, it's like cuffing season was just like how you use the term, like, you know, when it's the winter time, when it's cold outside, it's cuffing season. You get you a chick, get you a female, or whatever, or a lady, young lady, and you know, you kind of cover up, you chill up and where it's warm inside. But I like how he used this cuffing season as like from the street side of it. Like, yo, these dudes out there, these cops. Hey, look, it's cold outside. The cops are looking for a reason to lock up young black men, to lock you up if you're out there in the streets. It's cuffing season. Do not let these streets eat you up. Don't get ate up by the blocks that made you full. Like, that's what's so dope about cuffing season. I like how he just kind of twist that up, because people always use that when summer season is over and they get into the fall and winter. It's cuffing season now. But I like how he kind of used that concept of like the terms that we use today, and just made into an ill-ass song about life lessons. So cuffing season, definitely one of my favorites. Then another one of my favorites, oh man, 17. Jesus Christ, that joint, man. Like, I felt like it was almost like a somewhat of a part 2 into 216s, but even though we know the characters in 216 got killed, but like I feel like this can be like an ongoing thing that he can start doing. Like, maybe he might come out with an 18 track. But I love how he touched on 17. You think you the youngest corpse that heaven seen. Like, and that beat switch was so damn dope, man. Like, that beat switch, like, it went from just something like smooth to smooth type drums. You know, he used that sample. I heard Madlib use that sample before. I can't think of the name of it. Sexy Mama. I forgot the name of that group. 70s group. But the name of the song is called Sexy Mama. But Madlib used that sample too, that Khrysis that flip for that particular track. But yeah, the way it comes on, just move, and Elzhi he just floats on that shit just effortlessly, like so. And then when that beat switch, like you can tell Elzhi's voice got hyped a little bit, but he was still staying on par with the joint and with the storytelling, which is so damn dope, man. Like what I'm saying, life lessons. Like at 16 you was doing this, at 17, like how sometimes a young 17 can go from getting good grades in school and stuff to just running wild out in the streets, or running just like a loose cannon and with no direction. So 17 is definitely another one of my favorite tracks. Like, that was one of the highlights that Khrysis, I think, production wise, he like woke me up. Like, definitely was 17. Friends, that was another interesting track, because I feel like that was a track that was still, I feel like that particular song, I think Elzhi was still kind of getting a little bit of demons that he's been through, you know, in this rap industry from, you know, on the track Friends, how he kind of used the acronyms on Friends, kind of the same way he did Demons on The Preference. If you ever listen to The Preference, like, he used that acronym and made it mean, you know, with different meanings, which was dope. And with Friends, I thought that was clever how he used that in the hook. But yeah, Friends was definitely one of the tracks where I felt like, okay, that's still like I gotta get the demons off of me type of song, where he's dealing with fake friends in the industry, fake friends in real life. Like, I thought that was really dope, man. Like, it's that line he said about Jesus, which was so fucking dope, man. I might have to look this up. And recite this shit back to y'all. Yeah, like, the dope line that he said, like, which was crazy, was he didn't make it quite bad, so he might have the screws too loose to fit. Once after getting stoned, I thought he went behind my back and crossed me. That's a crucifix. Like, I thought, like, the way he spoke, used, like, the whole God, but, like, his real friends, like, turning his back on him and talking, you know, making slick moves behind his back. I thought was really interesting how he said that for some reason. I thought that kind of caught me, like, really good. But and I thought that on that track, that was a different type of production I've heard from Khrysis. Like, that was really something I was like, okay, I never heard Khrysis flip a beat that way, or heard a production from him that particular way. So I thought that was cool. And like I said before, with To-Do List, it was like, for a fan's perspective, that was a good song for me, where I'm like, okay, yes, this dude is really back. I think we're gonna hopefully start getting some consistent music from Elzhi with the To-Do List, because now he's out for next now. Like, don't come at him because Elzhi is out for next. Then it goes to Listen, which it starts with Amber from Moonlight, which, you know, it was a cool track, a dope, laid back, cool jazzy type of feel. Him talking about previous relationships and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. But Brigette's, man, let's talk about Brigette's. Brigette's is definitely a prime example of that. Elzhi is one of the nicest, dude. Like, this dude bars was freaking insane. Like, I had to pull this one up. I had to pull this shit up because, like, this dude bars was crazy. You claim you flames when you only hell. What I spit out the booth is the fountain of youth inside the Holy Grail. Jesus, Elzhi. Like, my God, like this is what I mean by your ill-ass intricate wordplay that you always display. And I think Regrets was like, even though you was like spitting life lessons and everything on this album, I think Regrets was a perfect track for you to be like, okay, let me let y'all know that I'm still nasty on this mic. Like, this dude is like filthy. What's another shit he said? It turns a gorilla into a champy, a pansy who won't attempt plan B. If plan A failed, they land straight shells, keep it 100. Life is a grand, stay well. Like, holy shit, like, Elzhi, dude, the fuck? Like, what the hell was he thinking on that shit, man? That shit was fucking ill as hell, man. But yeah, Regrets is like definitely another one of my favorite joints on this album. Was like crazy. And then, you know, he finished it out with the like the thank you, the shout out album where he was, you know, talking about his mother, you know, his deceased mother. We share something in that in common, Elzhi. My mother passed away as well. But yeah, he talked about his deceased mother and just talked about everyone who still had his back through the roughest of times that he's been through in this industry so far, especially during from the preference to Illmatic time. Like, he was really going through it. So I think he was really talking about that, talking about people who stuck with him still, even after going through all this, producers that stuck with him, MCs that was there for him, and management that was still there for him. So I thought it was a perfect closer, you know, for this album to wrap up. It's just like, Elzhi, like, yo, I want to thank y'all at this point in my life that I'm still here and I'm still doing this music shit, like, for my fans and everybody, and for himself. So I thought that was definitely a good closer. Now, real quick, before I finish up this review, I want to speak on Khrysis production, because I know I've been kind of going off on Elzhi, talking about Elzhi. But yeah, I think Khrysis, me personally, I love Khrysis. I'm a huge fan of Khrysis as a producer, man. I've heard him do crazy beats for a lot of MCs. Though I feel like he stepped back a little bit on this album, and I think maybe it was because of Elzhi. I guess he kind of wanted to let Elzhi be like the shining star, and he wanted to be like the Pippen to his Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Khrysis could have gave him a little bit more, I ain't gonna really say experimental, but like production that kind of would have pushed Elzhi. And not saying Elzhi probably would have picked these beats. Elzhi was probably the one that picked these beats for this album. I'm not saying that Khrysis was like, okay, this is all I got for you, there you go. Like, Elzhi probably heard some joints and was like, oh, I can write to this, write to that, write to that. So it could be Elzhi listening to them beats, picking those beats. But I felt like Khrysis, I feel like it could have been better beats on this. Some of these joints was a little too taken aback for me. Like, a little too like, okay, I'm gonna step back and let Elzhi do it. I don't want to try to outshine him too much. I think Khrysis should have gave him some wicked crazy shit. Cause I've heard the joint he did with Add 2, Between Heaven and Hell. Oh yeah, I can definitely hear Elzhi like taking those joints to like some other shit too as well. So like, I think that's my, if I was like a negative critique in Khrysis, I'm talking to you, like, I just feel like you kind of stepped back for Elzhi a little bit too much as far as the production side. I think the production fit the mood that the mood that Elzhi was trying to go, because he was definitely the star of the show on this album. But I feel like you could have been like right there with like the star right along there with him, instead of being like Elzhi being the star and you like the co-star or like the assistant, or like, you know, like I said, the Scottie Pippen to the Jordan. But hopefully this is the first of many with you guys doing collabs. And if you guys make another album again, like Khrysis, that would be my only critique. Khrysis, like, kind of give Elzhi some more challenging production. I would love to hear you make some challenging beats for Elzhi, and I know you can do it, and still keep it soulful and boom bap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can do that. You're capable of doing it. That's why I've been a huge fan of your work for years, Khrysis. So that's all I gotta say. But overall, man, this was definitely a solid project. Elzhi, I'm glad to have you back again. You know, it's been since Lead Poison. It's been what, two years, a little 2.5 years, and you know, I can definitely see this album being in, you know, folks' top albums of the year and stuff like that. I don't know if it's gonna be like #1, but like, it's definitely the replay value for this is very high. Maybe it's coming from a little bit of bias side for me. Maybe so, but you know, who knows? But look, this is definitely a solid project. If you haven't listened to this, please listen to this. The link for it to be in the description box, and also listen to his previous projects. Illmatic, The Preference. If you don't know that he had made an album with Black Milk, produced entirely by Black Milk. But I guess that's it, man. Y'all asked for it. I hope you guys enjoy the review. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible, but hey, look, I can talk on and on about Elzhi all the time, man. He's like one of my favorite. But other than that, man, this is your boy Beezy430. Thank you for watching. Always subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all that other good stuff, social media stuff. It probably pop up in the bottom of the screen. But this is your boy Beezy430. Check y'all out later. Peace.